thank you for joining me here this afternoon. The time is currently 3:38 p.m. Central, and you have a live look at a mesoscale convective system currently sweeping through portions of the Dakotas, Wyoming, all the way down towards Nebraska. This line of storms is going to be very dangerous, producing damaging to destructive winds up to 70 miles per hour or higher, and hail potentially up to tennis ball size as it sweeps through parts of western South Dakota, southwestern North Dakota, and northwestern Nebraska here. Now, currently, we do have several storms that are producing those 70 mile per hour damaging winds and tennis ball sized hail out here. Some of these storms are incredibly dangerous, alright? So, what you need to know is that if you are in one of these warnings for the 70 mile per hour damaging winds, what you should be doing right now is moving indoors, away from windows, and preferably underground. If you're in a mobile home, you gotta evacuate. You gotta get into an interior room, as again, this is a very dangerous line of storms. One of those areas that you should be doing that in is Bison. Bison right now, Bison in South Dakota is getting slammed by potentially 70 to even 80 mile per hour winds there. And we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning now in northwestern Nebraska. This is for areas like Montrose, alright? This is for the threats of ping pong ball sized hail and 60 mile per hour damaging wind gusts. So if you're in that area, make sure that you are moving indoors and away from windows immediately. So yeah, we have our severe weather outbreak going on up there, but also we have this severe weather outbreak going on down in the southeast, alright? We've got several strong to severe storms currently impacting parts of Georgia and South Carolina. Some of these have caused some significant damage here in terms of their damaging wind and large hail threats, alright? The tornado threat with these, incredibly low. Not expecting a tornado at all. But again, damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour and large hail up to lime size has been a problem with these, alright? We have trees that have been downed. We've got, reports of power lines down and some power outages, alright? We've got trees reported to be down on transformers, which can be very dangerous. We've got just so many damage reports here out of the southern half of Georgia here of trees blocking roadways, power outages, stuff like that. So we'll continue to watch that severe weather outbreak as it's ongoing. Actually, we do have a live look at one of our storms here in Alabama right now. This is from the Davis Vantage, the Red Level area. This is what it looks like right now in south central Alabama as we are looking off the east here towards a storm near Andalusia, currently producing winds up to 45 miles per hour and penny-sized hail. And ladies and gentlemen, that's not all. We have a third and potentially the strongest severe weather that we're going to see today is going to be out here across parts of Texas and New Mexico, alright? Right now, we have some strong to severe storms firing off across parts of these states here. Look at this little cell here near Carlsbad. Not really a little cell at all. It's a very big cell. It's going to be approaching Highway 285 over the next several minutes, producing 50 mile per hour winds and nickel-sized hail. So if you are in that area, make sure that you are moving indoors. We've got several storms doing similar things like that here across parts of Texas. Very intense right now, but again, right now our main focus needs to be our MCS sweeping through mainly South Dakota, but again, also parts of Nebraska and North Dakota here. So anyway, that's what we're dealing with today. I'm going to go ahead and pull up stream chat, so if anybody has any questions about their location, feel free to leave those down below, because again, we are talking about a triple severe weather outbreak today, which is insane. So, hello Airborne. Again, we've got significant severe weather ongoing right now if you're just now tuning in. We've got some hail up to tennis ball size and damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour currently sweeping through parts of the northern plains here. Again, Bison, South Dakota, you need to be in your safe space right now. Bison looks to be a pretty small town out here, but everywhere in this area, all these homes need to make sure that they are in shelter right now, as these are the kind of winds that can down trees, power lines, they can roll mobile homes and semis, alright? Very dangerous storms. That's a good thing to note. If you're traveling along Highway 75 or Highway 73 up here in northwestern South Dakota, make sure that you are getting off. Same thing with Highway 212 here, as we do have some serious winds ripping through, as well as some large hail. We do have Storm Chaser Corey Gherkin out there today. Right now, he's centered around the Lubbock area to chase Armada storms down here in Texas. And we got Storm Chaser Vince Welty actually out here in Colorado today. He's going to be chasing our High Plains event. It seems. So, again, if you're just not tuning in, we have a significant severe weather outbreak ongoing across parts of the High Plains here. We have several counties that have some significant power outages already reported here. It looks like we have about, let's see, 1,000 customers in Crook County, Wyoming, currently without power. And we're going to continue to see those kinds of impacts, but they're going to be, even more and more outages as we continue to watch this event here. Because right now, we are kind of at the peak of this severe weather outbreak here. So, again, large hail up to tennis ball size and damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour right now, impacting parts of Wyoming and South Dakota. If you're just now tuning in, we are here today to cover some more significant severe weather ongoing in the high plains here. It's gonna be a decent outbreak today, a decent few outbreaks today, alright? We got severe thunderstorm watch in effect in the southeast, severe thunderstorm watch in effect in the high plains. We have a mesoscale discussion for a watch down here in the deep south, like Texas, New Mexico. So, it's gonna be, interesting. Dixie Alley's so hard to chase in, I agree. And we're going to be here again tomorrow with you guys, as we now have, as I've been predicting for quite a while now, they have finally issued that slight risk of severe weather tomorrow for parts of southwest Texas. Areas like San Angelo, Kerrville, and Fredericksburg are included in that. We do not have a tornado risk for tomorrow, but we do have a 15% damage and wind risk and a 15% large hail risk. And tomorrow's going to be another day like today where we're watching multiple areas. All right, not only do we have our slight risk down in southwest Texas, but we got a marginal risk in the Four Corner states. We got a marginal risk in the Midwest. We got a marginal risk along the East Coast. Okay, so whenever we get into this summertime pattern, we've got several areas to watch in one day, and it gets pretty stressful at times. But we're gonna be here live on Wednesday as well. Now, Wednesday, the good news is we're not gonna have to switch around 7 different states across the country. It's gonna be hyper localized here across parts of the upper Midwest. I wouldn't say hyper localized, but pretty localized. Your dad is trying to become a Huntsville chaser. That's tricky, especially because right now we're not in a pattern where Huntsville is gonna see any severe weather for a while. But anyway, Wednesday's event is, again, going to be somewhat localized. All right, we have a slight risk of severe weather for just an itty-bitty sliver of the Michigan Upper Peninsula, portions of northwestern Wisconsin, southern Minnesota, southeastern South Dakota, northeastern Nebraska, and northwestern Iowa here. Got over 6 million people on Wednesday, included in that slight risk of severe weather, and I'm actually pretty concerned about us getting an enhanced risk potentially because we do have a hatched area, so that means that we're either going to have the threat for destructive winds up to 80 miles per hour or very large hail, potentially up to, around baseball size, okay? So we're going to see some significant weather on Wednesday for sure, specifically in the areas like Sioux Falls, Minneapolis, up towards St. Cloud, Eau Claire, Rochester, Sioux City, all those areas there. And guys, we even have a guaranteed stream for Thursday. We have a slight risk of severe weather for parts of the Midwest once again, and this is not going to be like Wednesday's event. This is a very large slight risk. All right, this goes all the way from Fairbury, Nebraska, back over towards areas like Troy, Michigan here. All right, we've got over 25 million people on Thursday under a 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather already, and likely we're going to get some more. Including that as we go closer and closer to the event. Some of the bigger cities in this slight risk include areas like Des Moines, Chicago, Topeka, Kansas City, areas like Davenport, Bloomington, Springfield. Fort Wayne is not included in this, but the northwest side of the city is. You'll literally cut down the middle there. Western areas of Detroit here are included in this, so we got some populated areas tomorrow on Thursday that are going to be impacted by this. So, got an active stretch of weather coming once again here. So I got to catch my breath. Whew. But yeah, by the way, we just got a significant 75 mile per hour gust report as of 12 minutes ago from near Barra County, Wyoming. This is the highest gust report we've gotten all day. In addition to 75 mile per hour damaging wind gusts, we're also going to see threats with this storm of lime-sized hail. So if you're in Ardmore, South Dakota, you should be taking shelter. Same thing with Montrose and Story, Nebraska. This is the most dangerous storm in the entire country right now. Very intense, producing large hail up to lime size and damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. Sorry, I don't know why my voice is so tired today. I'm breathing so heavy after I finish a sentence. So, again, if you're just now tuning in, we are watching a mesoscale convective system unfold across portions of the Dakotas back towards Wyoming, Nebraska. Those areas there, we have a slight risk of severe weather. For those areas, you're in Statesboro, Georgia, in the STW. I assume that stands for slight, unless I'm just being stupid and I don't know what STW means. You were in a severe storm complex, but it split. That's interesting. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning, by the way. This is for portions of Goshen County, Wyoming. Quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds heading for the Torrington area. So if you're in this area, you need to move indoors immediately. Central Goshen County in southeastern Wyoming. So, again, we got a couple of storm chasers out there today. We've got storm chaser Corey Gerken right now in Texas, and storm chaser Vince Welty out there in Colorado. Vince Welty's actually got a pretty beautiful area that he's driving through right now. So again, our very concerning storm on the Nebraska-South Dakota border is continuing to produce the threats for lime-sized hail and 75-mile-per-hour winds, so if you're in that area, you should be taking shelter. And we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, for portions of west central South Dakota, southwestern South Dakota, and northeastern Wyoming here. 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail are associated with this storm potentially heading for the Hill City area. So if you're in Hill City, you should be moving indoors immediately. Same thing for areas along Highway 385 here to the north of Hill City, and areas along Highway 16 to the south of Hill City. It's going to be a very brief band of storms for this area, but while it's there, it's going to be intense. So it's not going to last very long, but it is going to be a very heavy thunderstorm complex whenever it does hit you, producing, again, damaging winds and large hail, potentially, as well as torrential rainfall and lightning, obviously. Those can be associated with any thunderstorm, though. Again, I'd be watching for our storm to the northwest of Carlsbad to receive a severe thunderstorm warning. It's not nearly as bad as it looks. The reason it looks like ridiculously intense is because we're super far away here, the radar site is, so we're looking really high up into the atmosphere. But the reason we have to use this radar is because if we use the correct radar, the one in New Mexico here, it's glitched and it just shows a little rain shower, which is what it does with a lot of systems like this for some odd reason. All the New Mexico radars kind of do that, actually. Pretty bad glitch that kind of needs fixed. For sure. But luckily in this instance, again, we got a radar site somewhat close to this storm that we can look at. Really not too close, though. I'll be honest with you. See, like the other New Mexico radar doesn't show anything here. And it's not like it's just because it's too far away, because we can see other showers out here. It's just not showing anything because it's weird and it's glitched out. And then if we look at this radar, it doesn't show some of those showers that this one's showing. I don't know. New Mexico's radar sites are kind of hot garbage, it seems like. So let's go back up to our mesoscale convective system. We're just absolutely ripping through the high plains right now. Again, everywhere from Wyoming back up into North Dakota is where this line stretches across, and it's going to continue to head eastward. I don't know how much longer it's going to be able to maintain this intensity. I think by the time that it reaches areas like Pierre, Valentine, in South Dakota and Nebraska, it's probably going to lose some steam. The severe weather threat for today is extremely localized here. Again, to this small little corridor here in Rapid City, but we also have other areas to watch, which is the problem for today here. So, Storm Chaser Brandon Kopic is all the way up here in Chicago right now because he is preparing for Thursday's severe weather event, I'd imagine. So that's what he's doing out there in northern Illinois. For anybody that's wondering, why is he up there when all the storms are out here? That's what's going on. So again, very strong and damaging line of storms just ripping through the high plains right now. If you're in Bison, you're good. The main severe weather threat's over for you. You can leave your safe spot, but if you're in like Meadow or Chance, you need to continue to stay in your safe spot for a few more minutes, as the worst of it is coming in right now. Interestingly enough, though, 20 minutes ago, we got a 57-mile-per-hour gust report out of this line, and that's the highest we've seen in the recent history. It was, closer to 65, a little bit further back, but 66 even, but now it's kind of weakened. Still warned for 70, though, which is, again, why I'm saying if you're out here, you got to be taking shelter ahead of this thing, because 70-mile-per-hour winds are where you really start to get to the dangerous zone. Those are close to hurricane-force winds. Speaking of hurricanes, interesting update on the tropics here. So, if you're not aware, we have a system that we are expecting to make landfall, I should rephrase that. We have a system that's going to dump a ton of heavy rain here across parts of the south, mainly Florida. Some spots of Florida and the southwest corner of the state could get up to 15 inches of rain potentially, which would totally bust the drought out there, obviously. But if this were to develop into a tropical cyclone, which it's a possibility, it doesn't look likely at this point, but it's a possibility. If it were to make landfall, it'd make landfall somewhere in here, alright? Southeastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama. It would be a weak tropical depression. We're not expecting anything major at this point. But if we go a little bit further out, we can see a somewhat new development out here. So, this is the 22nd. See this cluster of storms out here? It's going to continue to head northwest, and look at that sucker there. That is insane. Look at that. Now, something you gotta understand, guys, we are forecasting over 300 hours out. The last run of the GFS wasn't even showing a tropical cyclone out of this at all yet, so this is way too early to, predict exactly what's going to happen, but this run of the GFS is showing absolute insanity for southeastern Texas, areas like Houston, around the 25th. Now, again, we have absolutely no idea what's going to happen with this. This is a very, very, very early outlook. But what you should take away with from this is we have a ton of potential tropical activity trying to develop out here in the Gulf over the next several weeks. And again, if we do really get something like this, this will be potentially a major hurricane, and we will be live all day covering this. If this really happens, where we have sorry, a major hurricane slamming into the south side of Houston. But again, it's way too early to really say, it's set in stone that that's what's going to happen. In fact, there's almost a 0% chance that that happens. But it's just interesting to note, for sure. By the way, I do have an update here on our severe thunderstorm watch in the High Plains. This is for until 5 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Central. The severe wind/hail threat is going to continue across Weather Watch 404. The best near-term wind threat will lie across portions of northeastern Wyoming, southwestern North Dakota, and northwestern South Dakota. While the best near-term hail threat, increasing wind threat after 22 Universal Time Central, or that's not what that stands for, UTC, will lie across parts of northeast Colorado, southeast Wyoming, northwest Nebraska, and southwestern South Dakota. So, as of 5 minutes ago, that's a new update from the Storm Prediction Center. The pros over at the Storm Prediction Center. Yeah, Mr. Storm and I were just on call discussing that potential major hurricane activity. And again, it's way too early to say for sure if that's going to happen or not, but we can say probably not, if anything. But if that does actually happen, that will be an insane event and what could be the storm of the year, because we don't get stuff like that in June, ever, to make landfall. So if that actually did happen, that would be a historic moment for southeast Texas and southwest Louisiana. By the way, our storm in New Mexico did receive the severe thunderstorm warning for the Carlsbad area that I was mentioning. Ping pong ball-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour damaging wind gusts could be associated with this storm. So if you're in Carlsbad or Loving, make sure that you are getting indoors and away from windows immediately. We should probably kind of focus on this storm for the most part now that it is in a very populated area and it is very strong. So anyway, my nose is making weird noises. It's like whistling. You hear that? I don't know how I'm doing that. I don't know if the mic is picking it up or not, but it's weird. So again, if you're just not tuning in, we are watching a severe thunderstorm currently impacting the Carlsbad, New Mexico area. This storm is capable of producing ping-pong ball-sized hail and damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. So if you're in this area, you should be moving indoors and away from windows immediately. And we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning now for the Box Elder area for the threat of 60 mile per hour damaging wind gusts. This does not include downtown Rapid City, but it does include areas like Box Elder, New Underwood, Awanka, and areas along Interstate 90 in between Rapid City and Wasta. So again, 60 mile per hour damaging winds could be associated with this little bitty band of storms here. I'm really not certain that we're going to see wind gusts of that magnitude, honestly, with this. But just as a precautionary measure, make sure that you are moving indoors if you are in the Box Elder area. So, there you go. Let's go back down here to New Mexico for our Carlsbad storm. Again, we have to look at the Midland-Odessa radar to really see this. Again, it's not nearly as impressive as it looks. We're only saying this kind of stuff because we're looking super high up into the atmosphere. But there's a very impressive hail core with that, and again, potentially some damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour here with this storm. And now we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be for portions of Ziabac, Corson, and Dewey counties in South Dakota. This is for the Isabel area, McIntosh, Watauga, and Morristown. This is for our MCS that keeps rolling through here. And by the way, we were talking about how 57-mile-per-hour gust was the most impressive thing out of this as of recent times. Now we have a 70-mile-per-hour gust report from Bison, so it's a good thing that we were alerting everybody in Bison to take shelter because we did have some impressive gusts rip through there, it looks like. Now, granted, that was a weather spotter estimated gust report, but the weather spotters are typically really good at estimating wind gusts based on what kind of damage they're seeing. So, probably around 70-mile-per-hour winds there. Sorry, I know I'm breathing really heavy. I don't know why my breath is like so shaky though. While we're here, we might as well go ahead and take a look at the NAM for the next few days here. So, this is what we're seeing right now. Alright, our line of storms ripping through here. The NAM was kind of predicting this to be a little further north than it actually happened, but for the most part, they got everything spot on. Alright, they got our cell down here almost in the exact correct spot there. I mean, they did a pretty impressive job there. Also, I don't know if this was the case before, but this storm is now one for quarter-sized hail. I don't remember if it was penny or quarter before, but now it's quarter for the Torrington area. But anyway, this is going to continue through 5, 6, 7 p.m. Look at this. Very smooth line of storms along areas in between Bismarck and Rapid City here. Where we are expecting, again, some potential for 60 to 70 mile-per-hour damaging wind gusts, but around 8 p.m., as I was saying before, by the time this reaches areas like Pierre and Valentine, it's really not the same. It's not nearly as intense. We have a new severe thunderstorm running, by the way, in southeast Alabama and southwest Georgia, for areas like Columbia and Headland, so if you're in that area, make sure that you are moving indoors. But by 8 p.m., this line of storms is probably not even going to be producing a real severe threat anymore. But as you know, early as like 3 a.m. tomorrow, we can see some of our leftover storms here trying to pop off across the Lubbock area, the Abilene area in Texas here. And then around 6 to 7 a.m., we're continuing to see some of those to become strong to severe. And then we're just going to have a stormy day in Texas tomorrow overall, no matter where you're at, really. And then around 7, 8, 9 p.m., all right, we're going to see a damaging wind threat really increase here across the San Antonio area, mainly to the west of San Antonio, though. But the greatest tornado threat for tomorrow, in my opinion, will be from 4 to 5 p.m., where we have some of these cells that are semi-discrete, so if any of them do become strong enough, they will have that potential to produce a tornado. But again, by 6 to 7 p.m., the tornado threat goes down, and the damaging wind and large hail threats really increase. Quite a significant amount there with those storms in southwest Texas. So anyway, again, our storm along Highway 73 is still producing damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour and nickel-sized hail here as it continues to head eastward. Right now moving through areas like Meadow and Chance. So if you're in those areas, again, make sure that you are taking shelter immediately, preferably underground, but if you can't get underground, indoors, interior room, away from windows works just as well in most scenarios. So we may have some sort of micro burst action trying to happen here with our little band of storms rolling through the Box Elder area. How is it for Houston the next day or so? Well, Houston today is fine. Houston just has the general thunderstorm risk, and even tomorrow, you should be fine as well, as you just have the general thunderstorm risk. But I will say areas just barely off to the west of Houston do have that marginal risk, so you might want to look out for a potential for severe thunderstorms, but it's not going to be anything too crazy. By the way, we have an update now on our power outage map. And we can see that now we have about 973 customers still here in Crook County without power. So that's that. We now have about 200 people in Dodge County, Georgia without power. We got about 500 people in Wilcox County, Georgia without power. As these storms continue to roll through. But I think we're going to end off the live stream here, because the severe weather threat is nothing too impressive right now. But we will come back later if necessary, covering portions of probably mainly the Great Plains and maybe some storms in Texas. I don't think our southeastern severe threat is going to last for too much longer. But anyway, I do want to thank you all for tuning in to this live stream. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys all